So we invite ourselves to presence. The body-mind settles in restfulness. Because in restfulness, there is an availability. There is absence of story. Whatever appears in this restfulness. The past is forgotten. The future is absent. It's just this simple beingness. There is no one trying to do anything. No one special. No teacher, no student. Just this open listening. And in this open listening, there is no one who knows anything. It's a fresh moment by moment discovery without knowing, without any narrative. We notice the breath. Various sensations in the body. we remain not knowing. We come together because we enjoy coming together, to listen, to take a look, without even knowing what we are listening to. There are no conclusions we're reaching. That's why hold on to anything when the sky is wide open, transparent. The sky does not hold on to the clouds. This vast field of being is a vast field of freedom, transparent presence. These are words that point to an experience which is not made out of words, not made out of thoughts. All is well as it is. And yet in life we engage with the body, we engage with the world, we engage with friends, with partners, with family. can we engage as a completely open slate, listening without knowing, loving because we are that. We are this same openness. In relationships, sometimes, or maybe often, we're relating from different levels of understanding, let's say. Can we be present, open, listening, sensing, not coming from any position? It's alive, meaning we don't know ahead of time, but we are interested. We're not holding on to anything. We're not trying to get somewhere or make a point or defend a position, because that perpetuates the sense of separation. To notice our habits, our tendencies, it's quite challenging at times. Sometimes others are a mirror, maybe more often than we think, a reflection of our own self. They appear to us with a message. for us to discover. Where the optic nerve meets the eye, there is a blind spot. We understand that. We bring this understanding to the forefront. Sometimes our resistance, our habitual pattern kicks in so quickly. It's inevitable given the profound conditioning of this body mind. But we're interested in seeing through this. We're interested in freedom, in love. We're interested in our vulnerability. We're not teachers or guides, or we don't know what we are, but we know we are the same reality, the same ocean. And yet, in life, we meet friends and people who have a different experience, a different view, a different sense of things. We are eternal students of the way. How do we meet each other? To keep this question alive, do we meet our experience? Once we come to the understanding about the reality and universality of consciousness, then there is a journey that follows, the journey of life, the expression, the exploration of our understanding in how we live, how we interact, how we listen. Places where we may be holding on. The universe comes to our help. Inviting us to humility, challenging us, pointing to our all the positions which we still hold on to, which are still operating below the radar. Which is easy to say all is one, we are one, there is one reality. But it's in the living that the true demonstration is a non-verbal demonstration of our understanding. We say yes to that. We welcome that. Sometimes we speak too much. I am known for that. Do you have any questions, anything you'd like to explore or share? Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. I know I speak too much, but I just allow myself the freedom to learn how to speak from the heart. I have tears in my eyes. This is so amazing. I mean, I really have no wish to burden anyone with anything. And at times I feel so humbly invincible. Seeing this me believe, this game I played so long. Yeah, I just have to learn to be quiet more often, maybe. I have the feeling you're helping me to get to a pain or something that I was afraid my whole life. Mm. And I don't know if it's pain or love and it doesn't matter because it's just life. I don't need to judge and it's so precious. And on one level, I'm so afraid, but not. I mean, it's paradoxical and I'm very grateful. That's all.
It's an inner
That should
journey.
so,
It's an inner journey. Speaking from the heart and listening from the heart. And there's a deeper silence than the silence of the mind. You know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what the past was, it served its purpose. All the events in life are a whisper from God to awaken you beyond time, beyond space. Then the journey is that of complete surrender, moment by moment. No psychological memory, no psychological past or psychological future, no psychological self or psychological other. And as you say, life is ongoing with its various symphonies and various movements and expressions. There is an inner stillness, an inner alertness, wakefulness, listening space, an available listening space. We don't know what's the next discovery, you see. There is no arriving. The journey into eternity is infinite. And it's so beautiful.
It's amazingly beautiful. I mean, just I have so many beautiful interactions just with strangers. Just a moment of really where I feel so deeply a connection and a spark in their eyes, and my chest feels so alive very often. And there's such a hunger for life, and it doesn't matter if it's pain or pleasure. It doesn't really matter on one level.
Yeah, that's lovely. At the same time, um, we measure what we express and when we express and to whom we express. Uh, that doesn't affect at all this aliveness that you're talking about. The-
What a mystery.
and we share out of invitation, and we share at the same time we're listening. It's never one way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this amazing gift of satsang and your clarity and your patience. I really appreciate it beyond words.
Hi, Frank.
Okay, thanks. There we go. Yeah, I couldn't unmute myself. Hey, Maggie. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
So, Maggie, I've got a question about sleep. I think you and I talked about this the last time. I'm still fascinated with this whole idea of the body mind sleeping, but awareness never sleeping, of course. So when I get up in the morning, sometimes I notice that I'm completely at peace. And then in about 30 seconds or so, mind starts up. There are worries, there are concerns, there are sometimes sensations come up, pain in the body. It takes a little while though. It's not an automatic thing. So I wanted to ask you about that and why that happens. And secondly, you and I talked, and I'm not going to ask you too many questions at once like I did the last time, but this is just one more. So we talked about time and how, so when somebody's asleep, if you have two bodies in the same room, one is asleep, the other one is awake. For the one that's asleep, it seems like it could seem like they go to sleep and then they wake up a second later because there's no time. That person can't tell time while they're asleep. While the other person who is awake will be keeping time and it'll look like 8 hours, let's say. What are the mechanics of that? What's the mechanism behind all that? Or what's the how could you explain that to me as a body mind? How that happens? What's really going on there is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure if this is making sense, but
I
the
got
best
you.
I can come up with right now with my limited vocabulary.
So in terms of waking up in the morning and there is peace, experience of peace, all is well, and then there are worries and concerns. It is a difference between having like a practical concern, so in other words, the mind is engaging, oh goodness, how am I going to respond to this email that I received yesterday and I'm supposed to respond today, or how am I going to rearrange my schedule today? I've made too many appointments, I had too many things. These are practical activities of the mind, which are absolutely necessary. The mind needs to engage in order to rearrange, the situation so that you can function, during the day without tripping. There is another type of worry and concern, which it has to do with the sense of being a personal self, the me sense, this latent fear or sense of lack that's sort of in the background, and it sort of comes up to the background, to the foreground. Now the question is, why you wake up and you're at peace, and then sometime later there are the psychological worries and concerns? Well, it's very simple. It's because there is still the sense of me in the background. It's not fully digested. It's still the impression that I am a personal. I'm Frank. I am the body mind Frank that arises and that you believe in. That sort of it arises and you buy into it. It's not like it arises and dissolves, in the space. It arises and it sort of lands, and now there is the identity, the identification as Frank. And as soon as that lands, there is a sense of worry, discomfort, a sense of limitation. What's going to happen to me? Sort of, it's not maybe verbalized, that way, but it's in the background. What I would say about that is that the more often you see this process, you see that I am worried right now. There is worry right now because I believe I'm Frank. There is this belief that I am somebody. I'm a son. I'm a whatever definition you have of yourself as somebody. It is inevitable. As soon as you are somebody, there is going to be that worry and concern that you talk about. But as I was saying, the more you see that belief in the background, and you see it as a belief, and you realize that that which is seeing this belief, that which is perceiving the sensation, that which is perceiving this story is not in the story, that there is a perceiving aspect, a perceiving element, which is you, which is I, which is your true self, your true nature, is awareness, is the perceiving aspect. And so then there is a shift from, I am Frank and all what engages with that, to, oh, there is awareness, and this awareness is myself. This is the process via which the being awareness stabilizes itself. It's via over and over realizing, oh, here goes the story, and I'm just watching the story, and do I want to buy into it? You don't have to, and I would suggest you don't. You just remain as awareness. Okay, I see this stuff. Doesn't mean that now that I realize that I'm awareness, there's going to be a magical wand and the body is going to go to completely transparent. You're going to feel like you're floating in the sky. No, whatever is going on the screen, who knows what's going on the screen, is going to go on the screen, but you remain as awareness. So it's not about fixing the images on the screen. It's not about getting somewhere. It's not about transcending something. It's not about jumping over or jumping over a hurdle. No, simply this understanding. Trust this understanding that you are this transparent, invisible, aware presence right now that is hearing these words. It's not Frank. It's that which perceives has no name. It's not a male or female awareness. That's the reality of your experience this moment, and it's the reality of your experience every moment, and you can go to it. It's always available to you to go tag that understanding, you say. And the more you tag that understanding, the less you will be experiencing the worries, concerns, and all of that. Okay, so that's the you've been you have a deep understanding already of that, so it should be quite available to you. Frequently visiting questions, so you're well on your way. In terms of your question about there is in the room one person who is sleeping, dreaming, and there is they have an experience of time which is particular to them, and somebody is in the room sitting in the couch, in the same room.
Hey, Maggie, I just want to interject real quick. I wanted to just remind you that we had this conversation the last time, but we left it here. And Mike, and you told me that it's just there's like my self is like dreaming that he's dreaming in one body mind. Well, it's dreaming that it's not dreaming in another body mind that's awake. So it's dreaming that it's awake. But my question about that was, are those two different separate dreams in the same? Is that the self having two separate dreams in the same room, let's say? Yeah, so that's just one, because I was going to ask you that the last time and I didn't, so I'll let you take it from here.
The consciousness is the dreamer of all dreams. In other words, there's only one reality which perceives. So whatever is perceived through body-mind A is different from that which is perceived through body-mind B. But that which perceives through body-mind A and that which perceives through body-mind B is the same. It's only the same reality, which is consciousness. So yes, you could say that it is the same reality or the same self, the same consciousness, which is perceiving all dreams, dreaming all dreams, and perceiving all dreams. Way beyond just what we know at the human body-mind level. Why there is no need to limit consciousness via the body-mind instruments. It's a minuscule part of creation.
It's sort of like I keep going back to, the idea of separation is when we look at another body, we think, well, they have their own mind, they have their own thoughts, their own experiences. So there may not be separation, but there is like which seems like individuality with unique experiences. So that is a form of separation in my mind. How is that not separation?
Separation is a belief. You believe in separation. When you look out in nature, in the world, there are many different types of trees, many different plants, many different clouds in shapes and forms of clouds, many different people with different faces, different heights, different forms, different genders. The fact that you're perceiving differences, like the difference between your 5 fingers, for example, does not imply separation. Separation is a belief. My question to you is, how is it separation? You're asking me, how is it not separation? My question to you is, how is it separation? The fact that there is a cat which is looking in there with cat eyes and cat smell in a certain experience, and the dog who is perceiving through dog's eyes and through a sense of smell, dog's sense of smell, which are very distinct one from the other. How does that lead to separation? You have to understand what separation means. Separation means that I am separate from you, right? That this is separate from that. Experientially, we don't experience anything separate from anything else. We experience that a table is different from a couch, right? One is made out of wood, the other is whatever. We experience differences, but we don't experience separation because our experience is one. Like right now, you're perceiving different colors. You're perceiving, maybe the steering wheel of your car or the windshield or the dashboard of your car, and you're perceiving the screen, but it's one perception. And yet in this one perception, there is a difference between the dashboard and the computer screen or your phone, the screen. Although there are differences, does not mean separation, you say. Experientially, there is no separation.
So we have to go beyond. Sorry. I was going to say, if you don't mind. So when we look at when we're looking at other objects, bodies, etc., there does seem to be a separation. There's space and there's and there are, like I said, different viewpoints, different mindsets, different mentalities, or whatever. So there is separation on that level. So we have to go beyond that, because otherwise, I don't think I could ever say that I'm the same as that. There's no separation between me and, like, I'm looking at a picnic table. There is a separation between us in terms of space. But I think, what you're talking about is we have to go beyond that totally into what's really happening, because this is just kind of like a dream state. Is that right?
Well, you're looking at the tree, and you say there is a space between me and the tree. But what is your experience of that space?
Without thoughts, it's just I don't know, just a bunch of sights. But I guess thought comes in and says there's a distance between me and that table, me and this hand and stuff. The mind tells me about distance, I guess.
Okay, so there is a thought that appears to you that confirms space, distance, right? What is the distance between you and the thought?
There's no distance there at all.
But the thought is
I don't even know what the thought is. I have no idea what the thought is.
The thought is saying there is a distance, okay, and there is a distance between you and the thought, okay, then you are the thought, and so therefore you are saying there is a distance, but there is no distance between you and the thought, and there is there is no distance between the tree and your perception of the tree, because you cannot separate the tree from the perception of the tree, right? What would be the tree perception? So, because you cannot separate, there is no distance between you, the perceiving aspect, and the perception of the tree. There's zero distance, right?
So the perception is what's telling me that that's the tree, and that's like maybe 100 yards away. That's
no.
That's the perception.
The perception does not tell you it's a tree. What tells you is it's a tree is a conception we've learned, we've conceived. This is a tree. You know, like when you have a kid, or when you were a kid, you have those books, and they say tree, and the 2-year-old says, "Yeah, tree." So it's a conception we've learned, which is helpful, of course. I'm not criticizing it. But experientially, in the perception, we don't perceive a tree. But I agree with you that we're perceiving a tree. But I'm making a distinction here that we're agreeing to structure our perception to tree, car, highway, etc. Mountain. It's a conceptual. Very useful conceptual delineation or stratification of our perception. But our perception experientially is just awareness. So,
Okay.
So in terms of distance, distance is useful conceptually. And I say, okay, this is 2 yards. Oh, this is 1 mile. It makes sense conceptually to use these concepts. But experientially, we don't actually experience distance. Because your experience is always awareness.
Okay.
And
yes,
the awareness taking on the shape of a tree, a mountain, a perception. You don't, awareness doesn't take on the shape of a mountain separate. It's like, when we were a kid, we used to have those books where you take scissors and you cut out a coupage. I don't know how to say it in English. That's not how we perceive. We don't.
Yeah, a cutout. Yeah.
Cut out. We don't perceive cutouts. We perceive. It's just consciousness taking on the form of a perception. You say.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying that. Yeah, it's the mind that's making all those conceptual. It's coming in with conceptions about what's being seen, I guess.
It's useful. It's useful.
Yeah.
This is how we communicate. Hey, I am by the ocean, so you understand. Oh, he's not talking about a tree; he's talking about the ocean. Right? So the conceptual realm is part of the human experience. But separation is a belief. We never actually experience separation. We believe that there is separation, and as a result, we experience a sense of separation, you see, which has nothing to do with distance. I agree that between the body-mind Magdi and the body-mind Frank, there may be, 1,000 miles. That has nothing to do, distance has nothing to do with separation.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, there's still a little bit of confusion about what separation actually means in the mind here, but of course the mind is confused anyway, so.
Separation is the belief that consciousness, that I consciousness is personal, limited.
Okay.
Located,
Right.
located in California, or
surrounded by skin, like
yes.
I think
yes.
Francis says that. Yeah.
Yes.
I think Rupert says that too. He says it doesn't end at the skin line. Yeah. So that's that makes sense.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Wow. It's just something that keeps, just keep forgetting. No matter how many times I've been listening to this, I keep forgetting. It's sinking in a little bit, but it's slow.
Yes. So you turn your attention to your experience, not solely relying on your mind. Your experience is more true. Your experience before the concept without referring to anything that you know from, the past. We all have a lot of knowledge from the past. Some of it is extremely useful. But in order to come more directly with your understanding about reality, you have to go just to experience in no time, without any time, and take a look whether in your experience, without thought, without relying on thought, whether there is such a thing as separation. Okay, maybe we lost Frank, but okay. Any questions? Milovice.
This is so beautiful, because what is working on my side is many things in life we became so structural. And somehow with the connection, how we share is the construction is slowing down, is getting softer, and we are touching what is really important. And that's aliveness, and that is stepping in the river itself. And in the meditation, I felt a little bit, I did so much therapy. And then you said, sometimes we talk too much. And it was such a relief for me. And there was beauty. I did not blame you for that, I would say. There was some I don't sense, or this is not my field anymore, not total, and I'm not avoiding myself. And there was simply a 0 point to connect to you and inside myself. And there was no judgment, I would say, but still I was sharp. And I love that, because that is the open field where we are one. It's a strange word, but in that we are melting. And that is touching me. And that is like getting softer in this field. And it's working by itself, same as Holger is mentioning. We get deeper without any program. The program is disappearing.
Nice. Yep.
And this deep touch is so human and is so real. And I love that we share from this depths, and I see it in your eyes, I would say. And we have that beauty in our eyes because we recognize it in ourselves. And it's...
Yes.
I was waiting my whole life that this is possible. I know that. So it's so nourishing, and also Frank, the story of Frank and how the mind is, and we learn by that from each other. And that's beautiful what Olga is saying. It's so much love and beauty and touching, and you melt, I melt. That's a beauty. I love that. I mean, it's so nourishing to share such things to each other.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Open hand.
Yes. Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
Hey, Maggie, it's Frank. I'm just coming back on for a second to let you know. My phone actually died out because it was under the sun and it got too hot and it just shut off on its own. So I'm back, but I'm just going to listen now. Thanks. I'm all set. Thanks so much for that answer. It was so helpful.
Thank you, Frank.
I would just have a quick practical question.
Yes, Holger.
I'm in the middle of moving, of packing things, and I don't have much, but I feel still so many unnecessary things, but there's still some pull, some attachment to hold on to. And can you give me like a simple practical tip how to determine if it's if I gain some identity out of this item, or if there's fear behind? No, really, it sounds funny, but
you're asking the wrong guy. I hold on a lot of things myself. We should ask Tara.
Okay, then I carry the bird with me. It's fine. It's fine. Since decades, I have this stuff.
You know,
So yeah, why not longer? Okay, good, easy. Thank you.
when we were moving to California from Northern Virginia, Tara left a few months ahead of me because I was still sort of working, finishing, my work. But somehow, and I would travel back and forth to, we had moved all our belongings to California, but there was still quite a bunch of stuff in the house, so I would fly back and forth, and I always found a reason to go back to Virginia. Oh, I still have to finish this one thing. I have to finish this one thing. And then one day, Tara, it was Thanksgiving. She said, "It's Thanksgiving." I say, "Oh, happy Thanksgiving." She said, "What do you mean happy Thanksgiving? You're flying over." I'm flying over. So I flew over and left a lot of things behind. I flew over, and somehow she's not here. Okay, so I can say that. She managed to convince me not to go back anymore. So that was our way of parting with a lot of things that I was still holding on to out in Northern Virginia. Anyways, just, when I look into my closet, I remember this one time I decided, okay, I'm going to make a move. So I walked into the closet, and maybe 20% of what I had was just down on the ground, and with the intention of getting rid of them. You know where they ended up? Back on the rack.
Hey, Holger and Maggie. So when I moved the last time, somebody said to me, because I was having the same issue, they said, if you haven't used something in a year, throw it out. So I was trying to do that, but there were so many things I could not throw out,
Right.
to save my life. One of them was like a set of drums that I haven't used in 20 years, but I'm always thinking someday I'm going to use these. And I haven't used them in 20 years, but they're still sitting in my closet.
Right.
Well, I would just like to add, wait till your parents die, especially if they were attached to their things. Oh my God, my parents used to hike and collect rocks. My mother didn't want to give up her basket of rocks when she moved into assisted living. And she was attached to her sheets from college that she still had that were tearing, they were disintegrating before our eyes. And I said, Mom, these have to be thrown away. Oh my God. Finally, I refused to go through any more boxes. And both my parents' boxes of crap ended up in our garage. And then we had to have the house assessed. It's just a huge burden. That's all I have to say. Get rid of your stuff now if you have kids. My mother gave me her ponytail that she cut off when she stopped having long hair. That's really kind of creepy, no? Talk about attachment. It went straight into the garbage when I got home.
I never heard of this one. That's going way out there.
Yeah, well, you don't know my life story. I'm just glad they didn't collect toenails.
Oh no.
I still have my first condom.
Throw it away.
And Yeah, yeah, it's so beautiful just to be empty and open.
No. Yeah, that's beautiful. Not your first condom.
No.
I love it all.
Thank you.
But I have to confess that with time, you know, I less and less accumulating stuff.
And what an abundance. I mean, so rich, so many things. It's fascinating, so generous. I mean, that this is possible to accumulate so much. And for every item, I can tell you a story. It's unbelievable.
For a consumer society, you know.
Yeah, yes.
Any questions? Hello, Masiman.
I have an observation and a question on a very different note.
Okay.
Although I have downsized from a big house and got rid of nearly everything, and it's such a relief.
Mm.
So my observation is from an old form of Indian singing that I'm doing, and the things I talked about with my teacher are really similar to the things that you've talked about today. And what happens in that form of singing is that when I don't try, when I'm just with my body and the sound, the drone in the background, and my body knows. And when I don't try, then it's very clear, loud, in tune, sounds very different. It's flowing and it just feels flowing. So it just reminds me, and in that flow, that absorption in the flow, it's a moment of just timelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But I have a question. So that's my question really is, and I think I know the answer, but I just want to hear you say it and your take on it, is really about karma and healing. Because what always happens is that before I realize it, I'm trying, I'm doing, I'm trying to fix something, control something, get something done. So it's a constant reminder. And the question about karma is, my understanding would be that when you've experienced something before and it needs to be cleared from your system, it comes up and it comes up, that when we can be in our awareness, then we're not so hooked by it. We might have to go through periods of things that need to clear. But what we can be doing is to remain in the state of awareness as those feelings that are hooked into things from the past or external events arrive. I mean, I would say it's really feelings, because it's how we see things. That karma would be how we see things.
Well, there's a shift, you know, from seeing things from the karmic, you know, the time dimension, to seeing things, you know, from presence. Now, in awareness, consciousness is your direct experience, moment by moment. As our reality is awareness. So that is not in time, does not accumulate, has nothing to fix, nothing to relieve. Sensations, feelings appear to you. They appear to you as awareness. They don't define you. They have nothing to do with you, you being awareness. They may have something to do with the body-mind, but we don't need to identify with the body-mind. So in the direct path, you go straight to the reality of being, the reality of awareness, the reality of consciousness. So it's sort of like a jump over, you know, all the chakras. You know, you're going, you know, to God. You're going to presence, to being. And it relates very much to what you shared, because, you know, when you're not trying, there is no one, there is nobody trying. There is this openness, and there's a flow in the universe. Flows as there is no retention, there is no structure. There is the magic of creation, and it's harmonious, and it's free, and it's happy, and it's joyful, it's peaceful, it works. Similarly, you know, when you recognize your reality as awareness, meaning when awareness is recognizing itself as this transparent presence, the reality which perceives, the reality which is, then you sort of cleared the field. You sort of went, you know, you bypassed the whole process of the whole karmic realm, really. And that's what I encourage you to do, because we all have this exact same capacity of recognizing ourselves as awareness, recognizing ourselves as beyond time and space. Yes, there is time and space, which applies to the body-mind, applies to the world, applies to the health of the body, but it does not apply to consciousness, does not apply to reality. And so the quantum jump is available to you, so that you can go from needing to resolve, needing to navigate, to complete freedom. So it's first the understanding that Masiman is body-mind, the name of the body-mind, that the body-mind has a certain space and time dimension, process, structure. We have to feed the body, we have to give the mind some rest and certain stimulation, etc. It's at that level. There is the body-mind level, which we all recognize and acknowledge. But you refers to consciousness, not to a process in time and space, you see. You have to.
But how do those patterns actually then shift?
They shift.
Unless we acknowledge them?
Well, they're going to arise, you know, when if patterns are arising, you know, they're on board, right? So when a pattern arises, there are two ways of approaching the pattern which arises. One of them is to simply see that whatever pattern is arising is basically thoughts and sensations, right? So you don't need to take it any further. It's thoughts and sensation appearing and disappearing. They appear with an awareness, they disappear with an awareness. Another way of approaching patterns that arise is, okay, to resolve them. Try to figure them out. And good luck with that. Okay, I mean, it's a path that you could take, but I don't encourage that path because it's an endless path. I'm not saying that it's not helpful or significant in certain cases at the body-mind level, yes, but we're talking here about awakening to self. We're talking about the quantum jump from being somebody to pure being. So I would encourage you to see the pattern that's arising not as a personal problem, but rather to see the pattern that's arising as manifestation appearing on the screen of sensations, thoughts and sensations. If you try to fix the thoughts and the sensations, you're going to get your hands dirty. But if you simply recognize that thoughts and sensations are in a way similar to clouds appearing in the wide open sky, some have the shape of angels, others have the shapes of dragons, but nonetheless, they're just appearances in the wide open sky. One moment it looks like a dragon, next moment you look around and the cloud has or disappeared or it looks like a goat. So patterns are basically appearances. They're ripples on the surface of the pond. They're waves on the surface of the ocean. It's wind blowing and there are waves, and it's all there. That's all it is. There is no issue, no significance for the ocean. Now we give a lot of significance to our thoughts and our sensations, our feelings. We have this sort of like our new idol, you know, in our society, our feelings, especially in the West, you know, my feelings are. We give a lot of importance to the feelings. We're in the feelings management business. Good luck with that. Well, why not? If it amuses you, go ahead. But we're not here in these meetings. We talk about freedom. You know, we're not talking about, you know, feelings management or fixing patterns. On the other hand, patterns can also arise to. They can help you to see behind the pattern, that the motive behind the pattern is, or the stimulation behind the pattern is the belief. There's a belief that I am somebody, whatever. There are so many self-definitions that I am somebody and triggers a pattern. I am somebody, and then somebody addresses me in a different way than how I perceive myself. My patterns kicks in, you know. We may have picked it up when we were 5 years old. Who knows? Or who knows where? Who cares where it picked, where, when, and under what situations we picked up that pattern? What matters is to understand that this pattern refers to me being somebody, a belief of me being somebody, and then fill in the blanks. You see, and that the belief that I, meaning consciousness, is separate and is a separate self, or is an entity that depends on the body mind, or that it's a phenomenal entity. There is no evidence for this belief. You can investigate that. The sooner you realize that consciousness, the I, the reality of your being, the reality of being, is non-phenomenal, the sooner you will be available to drop the belief that you're somebody. Dropping the belief that you're somebody clears the space. It's like what you shared, when you're singing and there is no trying, there is no somebody trying, because it's somebody who's trying. It's a subtle belief in the behind the scene that says, I'm going to try. But in the absence of trying and of being somebody who's trying, is harmony.
Mm.
So you can apply the same insight that you shared with us vis-a-vis patterns, body-mind patterns, with the belief behind the scene that I need to try to be the somebody, or I need to defend the somebody, or I need to justify the somebody. Clear the space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, nice talking to you. Thank you. Okay, friends, thank you. Thank you. Very lovely to be with you all. Yes, thank you. Uli, see you. Holger, Massiman, Vitse, Loester. Ja, Johanna, and Lynn, Rajni, Renate, Varsha, Holly, Ellen, Jackie. Thank you all. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.